Alex Pereira vacates his light heavyweight belt after months and months of talks that Poatan will move up to heavyweight. He vacates his light heavyweight belt. Jiri Prochazka now takes on Carlos Ulberg for the vacant title, set for UFC 327 Miami on April 11th, per Dana White. Now, there's a lot to talk about with this one. Alex Pereira will presumably take on Cyril Gane later this year for an interim heavyweight title, but as of this Sunday morning, it's looking like Jon Jones is in the mix to fight Alex more than he's ever been. So I'm going to discuss with you about what I think about this move for Pereira, who he might fight next, what's up with the White House card, and what I think about this Jiri and Ulberg fight. But before I do that, please hit the sub and like button, and I do appreciate you doing that. It's crazy this guy used to make middleweight, right? Now we're talking about him at heavyweight and how he's supposed to compete for triple champ status. Now, we have no news as of right now what his next fight will be or what is next for him. We just know he is vacating the light heavyweight title per Dana White's Instagram Live Friday night. As he announced, the main event for UFC 327 will be Jiri Prochazka and Carlos Ulberg for the vacant 205 belt. So it's very possible we hear Alex's next fight very soon. These last few days, we've had some big stories break because Friday, we had another huge announcement, but in the boxing world. Alexander Usyk will be fighting Rico Verhoeven, a glory kickboxing legend, at the fucking Pyramids of Giza. And this came after the UFC said Thursday night that Dana White would be going live for an announcement the following day on Friday. So with everyone clamoring for some UFC White House fights, waiting for Dana to go live, it seems like that could have been a strategic announcement by boxing, because I don't know if Dana was going to announce any White House fights, but it took him all fucking day to go on live. So maybe he was going to, but this announcement by boxing changed his plans a little bit. Maybe, maybe not, because he did say at the end of the live that later this week he's going to announce the White House card. So I don't know if that was the original plan or what. Of course, I'm just speculating. We don't know. But I'm guessing this week we could see his next fight get announced. And it would be his debut fight at heavyweight. And there's names being thrown around as to who it could be. Of course, the dream matchup of Alex and Jon Jones, it feels as real as ever, but most would assume, with the way Dana White has spoken about the possibility of that happening, that we won't be seeing that fight. Instead, it would make more sense with Tom Aspinall sidelined. We would see an interim title fight and possibly at the White House. But of course, Dana White lies all the fucking time, and he ends up contradicting a lot of what he says in the end. So now I'll just say I love this fight of Alex versus Cyril, even though Alex rightfully should fight for the undisputed immediately, and Cyril definitely should not be rewarded with another undisputed title shot because he is the cause of this fucked up situation at heavyweight. I don't think Tom deserves to be stripped, at least at the moment, because Tom probably isn't coming back soon enough to fight Alex. The last time Alex fought was October of last year, and he's not getting any younger. So, of course, the undisputed isn't an option right now. It shouldn't be an option right now. So I think Cyril Gane does make the most sense for Alex. They could fight for the interim belt. But as of this Sunday morning, a clip of Jon Jones speaking at an event is going around where he is saying he's in negotiations to fight at the White House. He didn't say much else, no names, no hints. He just left it at that. Now, I would love to see a Jon Jones fight with Alex. That would be a blessing to us UFC fans, but I feel like the Cyril Gane fight would be the best kickboxing fight we would ever see at the heavyweight division. And that feels like a guarantee. I wouldn't think a Jon Jones matchup would provide the same fireworks a Cyril Gane matchup would. Jon Jones would likely wrestle Alex, and I don't want to see that shit. I don't think any of you do. So if I had to guess, this Jon Jones fight is probably the top of the list for who headlines the White House card. We know Topuria and Gaethje are there, and they could headline any big event. But if we're talking Jon Jones and Alex Pereira, Taporia, he is a big star, maybe the biggest right now, but Gaethje isn't carrying the same type of star power to his name like it once did earlier in his career. And not to mention, everyone's choosing Ilya by way of slaughter. So you could still put it on the card, but make it the co-main. And I know that sounds weird saying put Ilya and the 155 belt as the co-main, especially when Alex and Jon aren't fighting for a belt. Unless the interim belt is on the line, I'm highly doubtful of that, but Alex and Jon are fighting for GOAT status. There doesn't need to be a belt for that. Everyone knows what's on the line here if these two do fight. So if Dana White and the UFC are going to deliver behind all the hype drawn up around this card, they better find a way to put both these fights on the card, if possible. If they can make that happen, if they can make the Alex and Jon fight, no doubt, make it the headliner to the White House card. Because despite what Dana and the UFC says, they want America to win at the White House. Obviously, Jon stands a way better chance against Alex than Gaethje against Taporia. Who here would disagree with that? But if for whatever reason they can't make that fight happen, I'll still take Cyril and Alex all day. Just, I don't know if they'll put that on the White House card. So ultimately, it doesn't matter who fights Alex next, whether it be Cyril or Jon. I don't think he cares because ultimately he just wants to be a 3-division champ, and beating either of these two would make him one step closer to being that first ever UFC 3-division champ. Well, actually, I will say, now that I think about it, he might want that Jon fight more because he'll be the first man to beat Jon Jones, and he'll still get the next undisputed title shot at heavyweight. I mean, what's a bigger deal? Being a 3-division champ or being the first man to beat Jon Jones? Drop what you think in the comments. But yeah, moving on to this Jiri and Ulberg fight. For the vacant title, this is the right fight. You don't throw Ankalaev in there. He's a former champ, but we know that was a fluke. And he's coming off a loss while Ulberg is on a streak, and Jiri has finished all his opponents, not named Alex Pereira. So I think the UFC got it right. There were rumors of Khamzat going up to fight Jiri for the belt. You know, Kevin K is getting skinned alive right now on X for that. You know, he's the one who reported it. But either way, that would have been the worst fight the UFC could have made yet. They've been on some shit lately with a few fights, but this one would take the cake, for sure. Like, how is this guy supposed to move up and fight for the 205 belt after not even defending the 185 belt? How fucking stupid. Anyways, I'm glad that didn't happen. Jiri is the champ without Alex in this division. And Ulberg is the guy too. He's won 9 in a row. He's coming off a finish of Dominic Reyes. And we get a fresh matchup too. And as much as I love Josh Van, this is a main event fight. I hate seeing the flyweight belt get disrespected time and time again. You know, they never let the division shine on a main event spot. But this time it's fair. You know, I know last flyweight title fight didn't go too good. That would have been a disaster of a main event. But anyways, this card is stacked. The prelims have some big fights, and we got 2 title fights. I'm excited for that one. Can't wait for that one. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Please drop a sub and a like. Drop down in the comments, is being a 3-division champ bigger than being the first man to beat Jon Jones? And what do you think of this Jiri and Ulberg fight? Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other videos. Talk to you soon.